paid dividend. We have seen recently our athletes that were recruited from the regional championship and national championship to take part in the national team in the school gyms. We have all seen what they have done. So that means that our these activities is not only a mere fanfare, but it's a very productive one because talents are produced that represent the country at a higher level. Equally, we have also decided this time round to look at the allocation of number of spots given to per region, because this is stick to the number of participating schools that are participating in per region. So based on your number, we determine how many slots are you going to have for your qualifiers. So West Coast got the highest because of the number of schools that are there, and then KM have been equally enjoying a very high number, that is both the upper basic category and that of the senior category, about 3 qualifiers in both categories. And then new regions have already been added. That is the West Coast East, that is Sibano area, and that of Kaur area. There are new ones that are coming up. But we have seen the Sibano area, that is the West Coast East, they came in a very strong manner by registering a very high number of schools, particularly in the area of upper basic. So that has now dictated us to review our allocation slot that we give to per region. And then once we look at that one, we realize that the KM has not been doing very well when it comes to the upper basic category in terms of the number of schools that participate in their region. As a result, we've decided to reduce their qualifier from 3 to 2. So we have now moved one of the spots to West Coast East, that is Sibano area. That means their upper basic category now will be 2, but their senior will still be 1 until they improve on the number. So that tells us that your number is based on the number of schools you have. If you want to maintain your number, you need to get a good number, number of schools. If your number of schools start dropping, automatically also will affect the allocation of spots that we give you as a region. This year, as part of our mantra, we don't joke with one thing, that is discipline. Because as a school, we all know one of our foundation as a school is discipline. So that is not going to be compromised in our competition, and equally cheating is zero. These things. We have zero tolerance on cheating. We are not going to compromise on the cheating. Last year, I think the chairman will brief you about some of the things that have unfolded after our finals, and then he's going to brief you about some of the disciplinary stance that we have taken to ensure that we don't joke with as far as discipline is concerned. So that also will be there. And new things that we have also observed this time around is that in our competition, we realized good number of schools will come there with different types of clothes, and that will make our competition less colorful. So we have now decided as an association that no school will allow their athletes to come and participate if you don't put on jerseys, because we know at least every school have the means to be able to provide at least a uniform jersey for their participating athletes for easy identification and also to make the program also very colorful. So we are now urging all schools to ensure that these things are adhered to, and then they all come with their jerseys as expected. Equally, we have a problem with the venue as far as our final is concerned. As you all know, our stadium has been under construction, and that has now forced us to keep changing our venues from one end to another. And financially, we are not strong, and then that has already depleted our financial standing seriously, because anywhere we go to, apart from the stadium, we run into a loss. So this time around, we have made consultation with the National Sport Council, and we are hopeful that this time around the stadium will be finished before our final, because our final is going to be in April. So all our regional hits is going to be within the period, January and February, but by April we are going to have our final. So we hope and pray before that final comes, the stadium will be fully ready to be utilized, and we hope this time around the final will be at the stadium. In an event, the stadium has some issues in terms of completion on time, and then we have second option, and that's going to be at Bottrop Senior Secondary School. So that is the plan that we have for the venues that we are going to have our finals in. And then another new development that we came up with, this one is not a pleasant development, and that is in terms of feeding. Basse, when we went to Basse, our national finals, all the participating schools, over 1,000 children, athletes, together with their teachers and officials, we are all fed by the association and then lodged by the associations as well. This was a huge burden financially on us. And then we are not getting much financial support. Just like I said, the only two bodies or institutions that are ready to support us for now is Gsssa and Gsssa just recently. So when you look at that one, and then you look at the financial expenses that we do, obviously they don't match. As a result, we are now forced, to drop the issue of feeding. Therefore, all the schools that now, in terms of athletics, there will be no feeding when it comes to national final. It's unfortunate, but anytime we have the needed support, obviously we will renew it again. But for the time being, with the condition that we are now facing, obviously we cannot. Because over 2 years down the line, we could not be able to pay, the cash prices to the schools, and then equally it's not also fair on them. They're gonna win and we can pay. So, and then good part of our money goes into feeding. So that's why we've decided that, from henceforth, so long we don't have the funding anywhere, there will be no feeding anymore to feed the athletes that will be participating in our finals. So, as usual again, there will be gear takings in every region as well. Bansang, Farafenye, Basse, Brikama, Sibanor, all those things they are going to have a gear taking. So the venues, like I said, in the various regions are already been fixed. As usual, we are going to have our regional hits first in Basse, that is this weekend coming. It's starting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Basse. But at the same time, we're also going to have another one in Kaur as well. So the two regions will all go simultaneously. So, but Basang will come the second week, and they will coincide with that of Farafenye. And then from there, then Brikama will come, and after Brikama, we'll have Sibanor and KM also will combine together at the same time. Their dates also will be at the same time. It's only Brikama that are going to have their own dates alone because of the number of schools that take part in Brikama. So for KM, we have some constraint. We understand that Abuko is not very much okay now because there's a construction going on which affected the field, and we are now looking for second option. Either it could be Straza or maybe a third option will come. We are still exploring the opportunity the possibility of having it at Abuko. If that is not possible, we'll go to Straza. Otherwise, we have maybe another third alternative will be designed by the regional organizing committees at their end. So at the moment, they are doing the necessary survey of the land to ensure that all those things are in place. So on that note, I want to say 2026 is going to be another interesting year. As usual, new things, new innovations will definitely come up. And we sincerely thank our last year winners, both the senior secondary school category and then the upper basic schools category. And we hope this time around again we are going to see new champions, because the level of competitions in our school, as far as athletics is concerned, is ever growing and getting better and interesting. And I hope this time around we'll never disappoint as usual. So on that note, I want to equally sincerely apologize. The president is not in presence, not in attendance, as a result of some official mission he has with the ministry, and currently he's at Banjul. Because of that, that's why he could not be able to come here. I sincerely apologize on his behalf. Thank you.
I am Abdul Karim C, the chairman of competitions under the office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. My role in this competition is to make sure that I coordinate the competitions and report back to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Youth and Sports. Like the Secretary General have said, another school calendar year have started. We want to thank you, the media, your friends, the Gambia Secondary School Sports Association, but we are also the mouthpiece of Gambia Secondary School Sports Association. But we believe that from this press conference, the passing in Banjul to the last passing in Bolivana, we know that school sports are starting their activities again. As usual, we have got our technicians from Gambia Athletic Associations to come and support our team, like the Secretary General have said, the events are starting. This weekend we will be in Basse and Kauru. In Basse, we are expecting the basic cycle schools, the upper basic schools, and the senior secondary schools. Likewise, Kaur, all of them will assemble for the regional heats. It is from these regional heats that athletes qualify for the finals. The following week, 29, we will have Region 3 and Region 4, LRR and North Bank combined in Farafenni. We will have Bansang hosting the Region South schools. That is going to be the following week, 30th to the 1st of February. Like the Secretary said, from the 5th to the 8th of February, we will be in Brikama. Brikama has a lot of schools. So all of us will center in Brikama. Then the following week, we have Abuko and Sibano. As chairman of competition, I cannot be in both. I'll be in Basse to cover that of the Basse. You all know Lamin Jawara, the chairman of the National Sports Council, who is also an educationist like us, will coordinate the one that is in Kawu. The following week, I will coordinate the one in Bansang, and Lamin Jawara will coordinate the one in Parafenye. And the third week, we will all be together in Brikama. And the fourth week, I'll be in Cardiff while he will be in Sibano. We also have technicians from GAA who will be posted to different centers so that we cover these things. So once again, this is the events that are going to take place. In our school competitions, there is no school that is suspended. All the schools have the right to participate in this year's competition. However, when we were in Basse in the final, there was an issue between Latikunda Sabiji Upper and Senior Secondary Schools and Mahat Senior Secondary School. An athlete was injured, but the committee has investigated beyond reasonable doubt, and Latikunda Sabiji was found wanting. The school is fined $15,000 and the coach is suspended for 1 year. We are trying to avoid suspending schools in our competition because it does not help the athletes. Because the athlete is the most important one. You suspend a school, you are denying a lot of athletes in participating. Who knows, those athletes you are denying can represent this country. So we are putting heavy fines in schools after finding them guilty. So like I said, Latikunda Sabiji was fined $15,000 and the head coach was suspended. These events is a selection event also. But before the Secretary General have told you that the finals will have the events up to February 15, and we will close and wait for the final after the Ramadan. And hopefully, with the promise, with the effort of the sports minister, we are hopeful that the finals will be staged at the Independence Stadium once the tracks are in place. We are not wishing to go to Botrop. That is going to be an alternative if the stadium is not ready now against April and end of April. Last year, we have organized a successful event. A good number of our athletes were identified. 26 of our athletes in last year competitions were identified, and they went to Algeria to represent this country in the Africa School Games. 18 out of the 26 athletes brought medals for this country. 18 out of the 26. And some of those athletes also went in December in Angola to represent this country, and they also came with medal. So one of them went to the Islamic Games in Saudi Arabia to participate in the long jump. So therefore, this year also, we are going to identify talents, but we will also select talents. We'll identify talents starting from the regional heats, going to the finals. Those talents that we identify, we will nurture those talents and prepare them for 2027, when Nigeria is going to host the Africa School Games. But we will also select the talents. The talents that we are going to select, we will prepare them to reinforce the athletes that went to Algeria, the athletes that went to Angola, who are also preparing to be in Senegal. Senegal by the 31st of October on the 13th of November, we host the entire world, the Youth Olympic Games. So the select athletes that we're going to select, we will prepare them and reinforce the team that goes to Senegal to represent this country during the Youth Olympic Games. We will be also making sure that we will organize a free, fair, and transparent competition. This is our show. Like the Secretary General have said, Gsssa have now come to our aid to support. But that's not the end. In athletics, you can have support from everywhere. Gsssa is doing their part. That does not stop others to do their part. One thing we know, this Gambia Secondary School Sports Association, their activities is the building blocks for athletes in this country. Whether it's athletics, whether it's football, basketball, volleyball, school sports is the building block. It is the grassroots that every institution should start to finance school sports so that we will be able to get those athletes that go out. Imagine our athletes, so many years they were not running on tracks. We pick those athletes raw. We take them to Algeria and they brought 18 medals for this country. Some athletes have never tasted the tracks. So we are hopeful that if the tracks are ready, that will help this country. And we are also hopeful through the ministry that going forward, there will be other tracks in the provinces that will also help our athletes that are in the provinces. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have for you. We want to thank you once again for coming to this press conference and be our mouthpiece so that everybody, like I said, from Banjul to Bolivana, we know that school sports is out again to select athletes and produce talents that this country can use. This time we are starting with athletics. We will not only stop with athletics this year. We run football, but we will be going on other sporting disciplines. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdul Karim C, the chairman of competition for Gambia Secondary School Sports. I also would like to invite Mr. Usman Kebe, the second vice president of secondary school. Mr. Kebe,
thank you very much, Mr. MC. Good morning, all those present today. This is a very important press conference. Let me join the other speakers to welcome you all on behalf of the President, who should have been here this morning, but circumstances beyond his control. In the 11th hour, he could not have been with us today, and has just given a call that we can continue on his behalf. Therefore, I am speaking on his behalf to welcome you all once more again and to inform you that this year's competition is already been planned to kickstart, and as alluded to by the Secretary General and the Chairman of Competition. However, the press conference is in twofold. I'm speaking on behalf of the President on the administrative aspect of it, and then the technical part of it is the Secretary General and the Competition Chairman. Role is to give you adequate information concerning about all the nitty-gritties technically. I would also want to recognize the presence of my co-vice president, Mr. Dauda, who is also with us here today, and some of the coordinators of the members of the executive. Well, as said, we want to assure everybody, both stakeholders, the media, and all those concerned, that annually we are graduating and making sure that things are much better in any year that we find ourselves. And as a result, we must all be aware that we are always careful and then be ready to make sure that our competition is free and very fair and transparent, so that all those concerned will be able to know that we are doing our best to make sure that, you know, there is no school that is big as far as our competition is concerned. Then as a result of the competition, as I said, this year we are set. All issues have been put in place, and we are ready to make sure that things goes well and fine. Traditionally, as said, we are here to inform the general public as to when our competition is to start, so that the most important stakeholders of the whole thing is the parents who give permission to their children to go and participate for a week or even more than a week, so that by virtue of being informed through the media, they will be able to understand that this is something that concerns teachers and then the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education. And we must also thank the media sincerely since we started, because even the last person in Bolivana, as the chairman said, is informed. Who is the media? And therefore we want to thank you. There is no small measure that we can thank you for your participation in making sure that our programs are aired out, our programs are heard and seen. So because we don't give anything, even in terms of remuneration, there isn't much that we can be able to give to the media. We are doing well, and then your participation is recognized. On behalf of the President, I want to make that very clear to all of you. We equally, on behalf of the President, want to thank, despite that it has been said by the Secretary General, we want to thank MOPSI, Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, for making sure that the environment is conducive. We must understand that in the policy of the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, sports is pivotal. It's pivotal in the policy. In Chapter 9, it is entrenched that sporting activity has to be conducted by the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education. And that is why, from henceforth, they decided that they don't have the manpower, the human resource, to go around to the country and conduct sports. And as a result, that's why this association is formed. And it is from their employees, that is the teachers, the principals, and PE teachers, who conduct this activity on their behalf. And that is why the chairman have said it. Whatever happens, he reports directly to the permanent secretary about our activity, because they have given us the mandate to participate on their behalf. The GTU CCU also is a partner, despite we are not able to sponsor every bit of it, but they have come a long way in trying to make sure they do our part in making sure that at least things become easy for us to continue the competition. So we want to thank them on behalf of the just passing away of the chairman. He is the just immediate step out of the chairman of the board of directors. So we will just convey our sincere and greetings to the CCU on our behalf. The Gsssa, said by the Secretary General, they have also come, but not in a whole package. They have come partly, and then that is why we are still looking for sponsors. We also want to thank the Gsssa for coming up to, at least engage us also to be able to go further. We will not also forget about the school principals. They are also a very important partner in our development because they work with the students and as well with the PE teachers. So we want to extend our greetings to the PE teachers for their entire workload. They've been doing extremely very well. We know it is not easy with them, but they have been trying very well to make sure that they organize children at their school level and to make sure that they compete. And this year's competition, as alluded to, is scheduled in the Combo area, that is at the stadium. But in as much as we could not access the stadium, another alternative is also being said. So by far and large, I think on behalf of the President, that is what I just need to inform this very important press conference, and to make sure that we do things accordingly. And then I'm sure the Secretary General and the speech of the Secretary General and the Chairman of Competition has adequately informed you sincerely about what we intend to do. And the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, they are now very much aware about our competition. Because we are fortunate last year, our championship in Basse, the entire ministry we are all involved. They were all invited because it coincided with the CCM at Passe. And as a result, they were all privileged to come and witness the day 1, the day 2, up to day 4. And then from the minister right down to the drivers, they were all impressed. And then that is where they believe that we should give more support to this association so that what they are doing on our behalf could be recognized and heard all over the country. Finally, it's about the security. You know, we gather a lot of students in our competition, even at regional level, much more at the championship. Thousands of students are gathered. And as a result, we also want to extend our sincere greetings and thanks to the security. Any year that we are to start this competition, we communicate to the IGP thoroughly to make sure that in any region we go in, so that we can be able to have adequate security background, so that they can be able to help us to make sure our competition is free and fair from other forms of intruders and likewise other things. So we want to extend that, and we have started talking to the security component so that at all our regional level, as been said by the chairman, they'll be available, likewise at our championship level. Therefore, on behalf of the president, who could have been with us, as I said earlier, is not with us, but I want to thank all of you on his behalf, and then to thank all of you being here today, and wish you all the best, and then to make sure that we all arrive back our home safely and get prepared for the 23rd beginning of the competition. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Usman Kebe, second Vice President, who spoke jointly on behalf of the President, Ismail Assise, and his first Vice President, that is Mr. Dauda. So, well, thank you very much. We would like to acknowledge some of our technicians and some of the EXCO members that are here. Like I said, we have to, because it's working day. So now I will open the floor for questions and answers. But please introduce yourself and the media house that you represent before you ask your questions. So the floor is open.
Nancy, I will try as much as possible to fit in the shoe of the president to answer any question, burning issue concerning about the competition. I started saying that we are also grateful and then to thank the security, the IGP, because in such a magnitude of our competition, where you gather thousands and thousands of students, and they are not the only people who gathered at the competition, likewise the general public. So it is in almost about in thousands that attends our competition. And as a result, we need a security background so that the security will be able to support us to make sure that things goes very well. And that is why we always engage the IGP, that's the Inspector General of the country, so that he can be aware of our competition through our minister, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education. We channel it through the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, to the IGP, and through the Minister of Interior, so that they are aware of the competition, and then they will support. And then honestly, they've been making sure that they support, and they do very well to make sure that our competition is peaceful. And that is what I mean, that we thank them, because anywhere we do our competition, even at regional level, even before our championship, they are available. We make requests so that they will come up to make sure they do the necessary security checkup, and they've been doing that. And I want to assure you that we will continue with that so that our competition will be free from any form of violence and other things.
The Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education has made it compulsory, or mandatory on all schools to participate, both private, government, and then government sub-interest schools. So that's why we expect everyone to come, but not all of them will come, at the same time. Some will prefer to go for athletics, some will prefer to go for football. As a result of that, that's why we have a disparity in terms of their numbers. But last year, we registered over 200 plus schools. So this time around, it's going to increase more. And that's why we said the expected number is going to be 250. But it's mandatory, and every school, government school and then the government sub-interest school, they are all deducted directly. whether they participate or not, they are all deducted directly, by the GTCC through the endorsement by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education.
Accommodation of the schools. What are you?
Yeah, in terms of the organization, we are well structured because in every region we have a regional organizing committee. At the national level, we have the national organizing committee. So at the regional level, the regional organizing committee are well structured, is like a fully fledged executive committee. And they are the one that ensure that the ground is level in terms of the field preparation. They ensure that the accommodation arrangements are all in place. They will find different venues or a particular center that can be able to accommodate all the competing schools to be able to lodge and then have their own cooking and other things on their own. So when it comes to that aspect, we don't have a problem because the schools concerned will be able to, other the regions concerned will be able to set down the ground for all those participating schools.
Yeah, you have talked about the selection. He made mention of that. The selection is based on the number of schools that participate in the region, so that we are giving a number of qualifiers in the participation. So if your school is in numbers, like let's say the upper basic is about 20 or 20 something, you are giving 2 qualifiers technically, so that in that way of organization, they will understand that this is the number of qualifiers for a particular region, and that is how selection is done in that aspect of the athletes.
How does a school made up for the final? A particular school made up for the final? You can give chance to others.
Okay, let me help because at the regional level, let me say it all. We have 7 regions, and then in that 7 region, KM they will have 3 qualifiers per event. Every event for senior category they have 3 qualifiers. For the upper basic category now they have 2 qualifiers. Whether they have 20 schools that will participate in the upper basic category or 30 schools will participate in the senior category, but 3 will qualify for senior and 2 will qualify for upper basic. When you come to West Coast, with all the number of schools that they have, both junior and senior, 4 will qualify per event. And when you get to Basse, 2 will qualify per event, Bansang 2 will qualify per event, both upper basic and senior. And when you go to Kaur, 1 will qualify per event. When you go to Farafani, 3 will qualify per event, both upper basic and senior. So those are the ones that will all be marched together and then go to the national championship. Now we'll have 16 per category. If it is upper basic, 16 qualifiers will come per event, and it's upper basic 16 qualifiers per event. That's why we have in the final hits and final. So the hits now, all the track event will go in for hits, and then from there, then 8 will go to the final. But for the field event, they will go directly into the finals, and then the best 8 will be registered with their points, and then that's how it is done. Yeah, like I said rightly, this is a goodwill gesture from the organizers, that is the executive. It's a goodwill gesture. It's not constitutionally mandated on us to feed the schools. But we have seen it has been a long-time tradition. But with the current dynamics that we are facing now, if we want to maintain that aspect, then we will fall short in other areas, particularly in the area of award giving. Schools will participate and they will not get award, and then they will keep on piling, and that's going to also affect our image as a body. That's why we now make that very unfortunate and very difficult decision. That is, since it's not a mandate on us, now we are going to drop that aspect until we have amicable solution for that. Then they will come up. Otherwise, the school have to take up the responsibility of the feeding. Yeah.
Thank you. I saw your hand. Yes.
Yeah, the hits, but as far as the tradition is concerned, for the hits, they take care of themselves. So the final is not every school that will go. Or in fact, at times, not every school's athletes will all go at the same time. It's based on qualified athletes per school. So we have 1 qualifier, some will have 20 qualifiers, some will have 10 qualifiers. So that's what we are now talking about now. If you have whatever number you have, now you are going to take care of yourself in the national finals in terms of feeding. Yes, that was an initiative from our media team, and I think we need to even sincerely thank our media team for coming up with that initiative by engaging, some ex-athletes, that have passed through the system, and today some of them are a bit well off or well placed, and they decided to give back. And through that contacts that they had with them, they were able to raise some funds and then provide materials like school bags and others. Equally, also want to sincerely thank one of our ex-athletes who is now part of the technical team,
of our Secondary School Sport Association, that is Mariama Konde. She has also been very much supportive. She's also been a similar gesture by providing bags, by providing flowers to the deserved athletes during the finals. All these are goodwill gestures from the various well-wishers. And we expect this will continue this time around. So I'm taxing the committee again, the media team again, to re-emphasize, to re-energize those people who have given and even expand it more so that we can have more together with that of Mariama content. Yes. Yeah, we will. In fact, we not only, at least I think of recent, our boss, Babu Karnani, raised the fund for the URR First Ever Sports Award. So thank you, Babu Karnani. See, the head of the media is very, very supportive with us. So we'll definitely see what we can do. And these people are very proud also to be, yes, millions.
Big Sam, I just want to thank the GAA that I have forgotten.
Okay,
on behalf of the president. They are our technical backup. Without their support, sometimes it will not be easy for us. Technically, they are the starters and also the receivers and also, so many other technical issues that they give up. So on behalf of the president, I equally want to thank them. I can see two of them here, Bob and then Sergeant. They are all here. I want to thank them for being with us, and then let's continue and then to see this year's also successful.
Thank you, Jay. And any more questions? Okay, yeah, the chairman. Okay, chairman.
Well, actually, for this year, we have no new rules. Although last year we introduced a mixed relay, where you have male and female running the 4x4, 4x200 meters. Right, so we are just trying to develop ourselves in the process, so that hopefully by next year we will also try to bring in other events or other rules that the children athletes will want to see. But I can say that we are still nurturing the introduction of what we produced last year, so that by next year we will support. As far as the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education is concerned, the ministry is using its strength to look for ways how to support school sports. One of it is to bring in Gsssa, the Gsssa contract is signed between the ministry and Gsssa. So Gsssa provides the support to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to school sports. The ministry is also facilitating funds, which in schools we have SIG, School Improvement Grants, that also schools benefit. So instead of the school sports asking secondary school sports or basic or any other schools that is within them to pay registration fees, the ministry is also facilitating the contribution of those schools through the Gambian Teachers Union Cooperative Credit Unions, and funds are provided. I understand this year the deduction have not been done yet, but last year, apart from the deduction also, the ministry has engaged the Gambian Teachers Union Cooperative Credit Union, who also provide funding support for both secondary school sports and primary school sports. Last year, when we were going for the events, there were $700,000 that were provided. So it's like MOTSI as a government institution does not have the funds to provide, but there are partnerships that is being worked out between MOTSI and the Ministry of Youth and Sports that is in charge of sports, so that we see how best the Ministry of Youth and Sports can also come and incorporate school sports, which are the building block of sports in this country, so that there are funding provided to school sports through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, based on an MOU the two ministries are working.
In addition, the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, for the past 4 years, they were able to use their strength, as said by the chairman, to make sure at least they support. And some years ago, as I said, 4 years ago, they were able to support a payment of one-off. But as the finance strengthened within their ministry level, that part of it has now gone down. But still now, we've been negotiating for for them to, go back to the drawing board and consider giving that one off, because it is never enough with what we have altogether to conduct the activity.
Thank you very much. I think we have to wrap this thing right now. Because, but like I said, this press conference is organized by the Gambian Secondary School Sports Media Team, who is headed by Babu Karnanisi, myself, Sirifo Lamin, and Ibrahim. I would like to invite the head of the media, Babu Karnanisi, to close this press conference. Nani? No, I know you have to. No, I give you the honor to close it. Well, he is the head of the media team and that organizes. So, Mr. C, you can close the.
Yes. This is the captain. I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for coming.